to another edition of I Am Sheila Michelle, the podcast. Today, I am so excited to be seated on this sofa with the one and only Teeauna White, known to many as Pretty Pockets. She is the CEO of White Way Trucking Inc. and Pretty Mother Trucker. Teeauna's firsthand experience is in small fleet, HR operations, freight dispatch, over-the-road driving, and most importantly, coaching and consulting. She has educated herself through hands-on experiences. She dominates her position as a woman in trucking. She is the power behind, what is Teeauna? Pretty Mother Trucker. Teeauna has a commitment to educate, equip, and empower aspiring trucking bosses to really get a bag while elevating in business. At the peak of her accomplishments, aiding hundreds of people building their trucking empire, Teeauna's mission is to evolve higher. As an entrepreneur, a mother of three, an influencer, Teeauna continues to motivate others to navigate through their goals with confidence. Yes, let me give you a hand, girl.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Well,
you look beautiful.
Thank you. So do you.
Thank you.
Sexy, sexy, sexy. So I love that. I love this bio, but I just feel like, well, I'm in your presence is so much bigger than this. Like, you know, you have this aura and this huge persona and energy about you, but then at the same time, like, you can tell that you also are like very soft and very loving.
Yeah.
Well, I get that energy.
Thank you.
So tell us, how did Pretty Pockets? How did we go from Teeauna White to Pretty Pockets?
Well, where I've grown up from, I'm from San Bernardino, California.
Okay.
And this is like my early adulthood, me just trying to get money, working hard. I used to take care of like my sisters and helping my family out. I needed like other ways to make money. So I started this movement called Pretty Pockets, which was just girls getting money. Because when people would ask me what I do, like I did a little bit of everything. Any way that I could make some money, not in a bad way, but just make extra income. Like if I'm selling clothes, if I'm, booking shows, if I'm hosting clubs. I was in school, I was working. So I was like playing multiple roles of like 9 to 5, having night jobs, having extra streams of income coming in. Well, we call them streams of income now.
Right.
Back then it was like just having an extra hustle, right? And so the movement of Pretty Pockets was really just about ambitious women going after their goals, wanting to make money, wanting to better themselves, really just not being lazy. So it was like, I used to call it like the anti-lazy movement. Like long as you're up and you're getting up every day and you're doing something to better yourself. And it popped off really big. And so around that time, even Instagram was fresh. I started the Pretty Pockets page and I was selling shirts about the different things you could do, like nurse shirts and working shirts and cosmetology shirts. Mm-hmm. And so the brand started doing well. Once you drop merch with brand, it stuck. Everyone knows me as Pretty Pockets. And I really love what it's behind, like the sisterhood about it, the encouragement that it's just not focused on one industry or one thing. Because I remember when I dropped, it was a shirt called About That Wife. Mm-hmm. That was a part of my line. I dropped 9 different shirts when I first launched Pretty Pockets. And everybody was like, what's about that wife? And I'm like, there's a lot of women who are housewives. Mm-hmm. And they may not go out in the field and work, but I don't want to forget them. Right. They take care of home. They take care of their husband. The husband is a breadwinner, but ultimately it's a dynamic that they have. And she's still getting up, taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, taking care of the home. So I didn't want to leave out any woman that just gets up and do what they need to do, no matter what environment they were in. So I love it. Y'all can call me Pretty Pockets.
Okay.
I go by Pretty Pockets now more than I do Teeauna.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I still see you as Teeauna, but I guess I first knew you as Pretty Pockets before I actually met you in person.
And then you got to know me.
And then, and I feel more Teeauna. Mm-hmm. But But what I love though is because what you just hit me to, you just put me on game, is that Pretty Pockets is a movement because I didn't know that. I just thought it was a nickname. And so really like Pretty Pockets is like gang gang, like
Yes,
but
absolutely.
money gang gang,
Yes.
like in a good way.
Yeah.
So there is a value. It sounds like there is a value system there. You know, it's a tribe probably before tribes,
Yeah.
you know, really existed in the social space. And so you're essentially encouraging women and young women, which is super important. Like, hey, you know, you need to be about your goals and you need to be prepared to work hard and you know you need to think outside of the box and you need to be open and
Yes.
that's what I just got from that.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, cool beans. So because you're not that old, right?
No, I'm 21.
Right, 21. Do something for me. But what I was about to ask is like, did you always have this leadership? Because the other thing that I heard is that you've been a leader for a while, right? Um, and I hear community as well. So like, where did that value system or how did those things become important to you? Like, how did it become important to you to pursue dreams, goals, things that you want in life, material or not, and to like bring other people on the way? Like, when did that kind of set in for you?
To be very transparent, I believe that is set for me at a young age because of my personal life, my upbringing. I'm the oldest of 5 girls.
Okay.
And just my upbringing, I had to step up in a lot of ways, even when I wasn't prepared. And it just taught me to take the lead, make sure everybody's good. So I was the oldest of 5 girls, and we're not too far. I believe between me and my youngest sister, we're about 8 years apart.
Okay.
So Mom kind of had kids back to back a lot. And so just being the oldest of a lot of girls, I kind of took on a motherly role towards them very young. So as a result of that, as a woman, growing to be a woman, I'm making sure they're good all the time. And then when I started into the work field, I was only 14. I immediately got hired on, working in like a mom and pops type store in the mall, go to school, go to work, very young, again, to help out my mom. And within like 6 months, I was giving keys to 3 different stores in the mall from this family. And I was like 16 driving to different stores. So very early on, I was given in the work field a lot of responsibility.
Right.
And then so from there, I believe it just stemmed of me taking the lead to be the direction. And where I'm from, a lot of people were getting led in the wrong ways.
Right.
So it's like I had to be firm and like, I need to be able to make the decisions.
Right.
I need to be at the forefront of where I want my life to go. And because I know I was moving in positive ways and I always wanted to elevate and grow past, you take your people with you. So it's like the nurturer, like, okay, come over here. I'm going to show you a way, but I got you. I got all my friends' jobs with me when we were working young. So leadership, I think it came naturally. And then I love being a leader.
Yeah.
Because I love that now. And as a grown woman, as a brand, as a trusted brand, I don't really attract as many. People think if you're a leader, you're always having followers.
Right.
But I feel like from my brand, I attract other leaders.
Come on.
So
That's something right there.
yeah, I attract other leaders, and to be able to lead leaders,
Yeah.
it feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that definitely is amazing because I'm thinking to myself, I know you're a Gemini.
Oh yeah.
But I feel
that could be a good thing.
But
or a bad thing
I got Leo energy right now.
You do?
But I know you're a Gemini.
Yes, I am. Juneteenth, baby.
Yes, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the thing, the Juneteenth, because there's so much power and strength. And believe it or not, I would never have thought that you were the oldest child.
No,
I have this game that I play with myself where I guess people's birth orders and I guess their sign, their zodiac signs. I just do. I don't.
Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate most of the time. And I actually take you more as a middle child. because you seem so even tempered. But I also know how y'all Geminis rock because I'm married to one. But I take you as like, you know, more even tempered, you know, like you're a leader, and I feel like you're maybe one of those level 5 leaders that they talk about in that book, Good to Great, which is where very unassuming. Do you know what I mean? Like not necessarily looking for the cameras or the microphone. Like, you know, they just do what they do.
Yeah.
They get stuff done. Yeah. So,
But if the cameras and the microphone come, I'll be ready.
in the age of content, absolutely. Right. In the age of content, absolutely. I think we have to definitely embrace cameras and microphones. Like it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like you got to be seen and heard. So you either got to be seen because you're writing and your writing is showing up somewhere, or you got to be seen because, you know, you smiling and you taking a picture or you speaking. I mean, right now people have to be they have to be very visible.
I think a big part of the transition of the different types of like leading or starting tribes or brands, like the transparency. Do you notice like when you're very transparent about your business, like the good, the bad, also like with our lifestyle, when you put yourself in a position to be a leader, even like in my industry, it forces me to be transparent sometimes.
Yeah.
And not all the time you want to be transparent or you want to open up. So I think like a challenge in that space was the transparency for me.
Yeah.
You know, when you grow up and how I grew up was like, what happens in this house stays in this house.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of us.
If you got a black mama or close to it.
I have a white mom, but I think she got stuck in a white body. But the transparency of like just how, you know, you've been brought up, the challenges, like even in business, we're put at the forefront to show what we do and how well we do it. And then there's the transparency, and that's what allowed people to attract to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a bridge that a lot of leaders have to cross and being open to being transparent.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you said force, and I'm like, not really though. I feel like it's a decision.
That's true.
I do feel like it's a decision. And I'm not gonna say, you know, some people are fake and phony or fraud because they're not transparent. But I definitely feel like it is because it's a narrative. I'm transparent because I like to control my narrative. Somebody can do something crazy to me, baby, I'm gonna turn it into a story because I'm gonna control the narrative. But I also like transparency just because it's easier. I've never been a person who had game. So it's just easy to be me than to sit up here and try to let me figure out what move you going to make so I can figure out what move I'm going to make or what you're going to say and what I'm going to say. It's much more easy for me to be genuine. I'm perceiving that when you say force, like that's your core, your internal system. Like, hey, Teeauna, to be true to yourself, like you got to do this.
I think it's more being relatable.
Okay.
When you're transparent about some of your experiences and you're speaking to an audience or people who don't know you, your transparency allows them to relate to you in some aspect.
Yeah.
And then with the relatability, you have a connection.
Yeah. Yeah. And so is that what you attribute to the growth of?
I think being relatable has allowed me to grow.
Relatable.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Being pretty too.
Yeah. Being a hustler too.
Yeah.
Like everyone sees me work hard.
Yeah.
I have pretty days and I have a lot of rough. Well, being in trucking, I'm either like glammed and cute or I'm homeless looking. Like it's not an in-between with me. So,
but men like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, they do.
Don't be
I find when I look, I used to
You're
say,
a woman, they like you.
Before I got married, I used to say, why is it when you look like a crackhead, like
you get hit on the most?
Swarming to
you get hit on the most. Yeah.
But I also heard that it could be because like men like to see the opportunity to contribute or improve. And so when you look like you need help, like, you know, they want to come scoop you up and help you. But, you know, when you looking like whatever, they're like, okay, never mind.
I think it's more so too when you're looking like how you look all glammed and beautiful, and you're out and you're maybe walking into a store. You're intimidating. Like, she's beautiful. She looks. You smell good. It's like,
But that ain't that what you want, bruh?
yeah. But some men are intimidated.
Yeah. So what do you feel like? What's the number one thing that your mom told you that you're like it never, like, whether you hold on to it because you want to or whether it just pops in your head? What's the number one thing that your mom told you?
That she always told me I had a gift, and she always told me, no matter like what you wear, what you have on, any atmosphere you're ever in, you will always shine. And you'll always be one of the best. And she was like, that's just your personality. That's who you are. And just never forget that.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever think that like you're here. Just always know you're here and move like you're here. Act like you're here. Work like you're here, because like you are that.
I love that.
And she's always motivated me and supported me a lot. So the number one thing I would say, those are like some of her words that she's always told me over and over.
So she put gas in your car and it never ran out. Yeah. I love that. That is, especially coming from your mom. Like, how much affirmation would you need from anything else? So that's amazing.
It sticks with me. A lot of the things she says sticks with me because we weren't financially stable. So she couldn't put me in positions to be okay financially, or like put me in schools.
Right.
So for her, that was, all she could do was put a battery in my back. Like, yes, baby, go. Yeah, I see you.
I love it.
Yeah. And that actually was more valuable than anything.
Yeah. So I've seen, because of course I follow you. So I've seen you and your sister. So like, what's y'all sister code? Like, is it when y'all go somewhere, everybody leaving together? Is it with like, what's that sister code that y'all have?
I'm going to give you another thing from my mom. Y'all don't even need no friends. I had enough kids.
That's what she say. Y'all don't need no friends.
Y'all don't really need friends. I had enough kids. It's enough for y'all. Y'all close in age.
Yeah.
Y'all be all right.
I love that.
So actually, one of my sisters flew out with me out here to Atlanta, and she just got on a flight. But we have fun. We're really tight. We're really close. And I know if you follow me, you see like we're together a lot. My mom and my sisters. And we're just like, we rock with each other. Of course, we're girls, so we get catty.
Yeah.
We get into it a little bit, but it doesn't really go past that. And then so this is one of the codes we have. Because as women, we vent and we talk. So we have a code within our sisterhood, our sistership. We're not allowed to talk about each other with our friends.
That's right.
But if we talk about each other with another sister, it's okay.
Well, I mean,
so like we got to keep the drama, we got to keep the whatever's going on within here, and it's not for our friends to know. But if you want to go, like, hey, guess what? Yeah, this sister did. Y'all could gossip about me a little bit, but don't talk about me to your friends. So that's our code that we have with our sisters.
That is amazing.
No talking about each other to the outside world.
So so if you had to pick one word to describe you all as sisters, what would it be?
Solid.
I love that. That's so important. That's so important.
I think I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Stuff.
That's okay. You can cry out here. No, that's good. I love that. Okay. So let's move down a little bit. I had some questions for you. I want to get into the business side a little bit. Right. So, obviously you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Right. You're very ladylike. You're intelligent. What prompted you to go into trucking when you could have been a model because you're beautiful? You could have done many other things with your intellect. There's nothing wrong with trucking, right? It takes intellect to run trucking, but because it's not like, oh, this is what I have to do, right? And like you're feminine, so it's not like you're looking to be, lifting a lot of heavy things or dealing with the mechanics of a truck. So tell us about that journey.
It's been a long one. Well, first, how I got into trucking before I got directly into trucking, I made a switch from being in school and being in retail for many years. And I was a retail manager, and I was in college at night. I had 2 kids. I was pregnant with my third one. And I had a lot of medical restrictions with my last pregnancy, which is my son.
Okay.
And a company I worked for 9 years at this time made millions of dollars. They pretty much just didn't have my back. The time would be too long that I would need to be out. They said I couldn't handle my obligations there. And so without laying me off, they laid me off. But they did it in a legal way of like, well, you can take some time off, but if you need to extend your medical leave or your family leave legally over 6 weeks, 8 weeks, if you're not returning, you're not guaranteed your position. So they guaranteed me a job back, but they said they could not guarantee my district manager, retail manager, area manager position. So I left, and I left with a 401k because I did have a great regional manager when I got in at 19 with that company that said, hey, save. And so I left with like close to 30,000 when I left.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm never going to work for anybody again. And I opened up a nightclub and opened up a hookah lounge. I got into like the nightlife because Pretty Pockets at that time, we started getting really popular. We got popular in the clubs. So I used to host a lot, and I used to bring a lot of girls out. Okay. So the nightlife was it was a money engine for me. And so I got into club owning and, like I said, lounges, entertainment. And when I didn't know how to operate a business, because again, it was new to me. Right. I didn't do well. I ended up failing. And so when I pulled out, I had a amount of money and I had to make decisions. It was like one of those moments I was just thinking, what am I going to do? Yeah. I didn't finish college yet. I didn't have a degree. I don't have my job to fall back on. I'm like, what? This has to work. Whatever I'm going to invest this in next, I need it to work. And I didn't move quick. And my son's dad actually started putting a bug in my ear, like, why don't you just get trucks? Like, they make money. Because I was more on the side of, like, not what I like to do, but what's going to bring in good income.
That's a good,
so it was money motivated. Okay. Looked at the numbers. You know, it's a high investment, but trucking, you can make 10 grand a week on a truck. So I'm like, 30 grand a month, 40 grand a month. All right, let's do it. And it just started, you know, like poking my nose around to look into equipment. And once I made a decision to buy it because of the money, I didn't know how to run a company. So that part was very challenging, but I never intended on driving. I never intended of being the one underneath the hood sometimes, being broken down on the side of the road. All the things that I share about my journey of even me being a truck driver, originally, that wasn't the plan. It was to be on the investment side. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in business, you got to be in your business. And what I didn't know is how the drivers would quit on you and how the equipment would break down and the expenses were really high. So I jumped in seeing numbers, not knowing anything about this industry. And so me learning along the way was I wasted a lot of time and money, but also I had my son's dad that was like, you know, well, I'll drive once we lost my first driver. And then he went to prison. Yeah. So it was like, I had a game plan. I thought I had a team. I thought it was going to flow a certain kind of way. And it was like, oh, no, you're going to have to drive. You're going to have to stay in your business. Because again, remember, I just had that investment. So it's like, I can't lose what I started. And so being a woman in trucking, I felt like in the beginning, I didn't have respect. I felt like I didn't have help. I felt like, although there's a lot of women in trucking now, a lot of the old school truckers that I run into that are women, social media wasn't around. They don't get the flowers that they've gotten just being a driver. And so I felt like social media has helped people have a platform. And I feel like by me sharing me being a woman in trucking in the last 4 years, I definitely feel like I'm a factor in the image of a woman in trucking. Because, you know, I'll be out there sometimes looking rough and then I'm out there cute in my truck. But it's also very dangerous. So it's like, because it's more seen now in the last, I want to say 2 years, more women have gotten their CDLs and
Right.
it's breaking records of the women that are getting CDLs.
Right.
But it's very challenging, like on the physical side, like we're dealing with a lot of equipment. It's very unsafe as far as just being at the truck stops, making sure you're taken care of, like you're being aware, you're being alert, especially if you're a mom, being out there on the road.
Yeah.
So on the side of being pretty, I'm gonna tell y'all the advantages. I get in first sometimes. It's like 10 trucks waiting. I go up to the window, like, hey, you just
Yeah.
the finesse of it,
Yeah.
me being pretty and being a woman. There's times that it works to my advantage, but ultimately I'm just like any other driver out there. And being a Black woman in trucking, there's a whole side of a lot more on the logistics side on growing and scaling your business, that there's a lot of rooms that you don't see women in transportation that I've been sitting in. There's a lot of rooms that Black women aren't sitting in that I'm getting in. And I'm looking around like there's just more impact. There's more hard work. There's more just dedication to the industry if I still want to grow. But I love how I've been an influence to just be an example. Like, it's been hard, but if you want to do it, you can do it. And just because we've been in a male-dominated industry, we're like changing even that word. It's not so much male.
Yeah.
We were, I want to say, under 5%. And those numbers are increasing. So
Yeah. It's up to, I think, 13.7%. I checked today before your interview.
yes,
Um,
snaps for that.
yes. Well, I love it. I'm fascinated by it. I mean, I think, traditionally just understanding trucking and passing, like growing up, it was okay, the male, he made good money, but he had a woman in every town he was in.
That's still there, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah. And then a few years, I say probably about 4 to 6 years ago, like trucking, everybody's like, hey, I'm going to get a truck, or, I'm going to drive trucks, or, whether I'm going to drive trucks or whether I'm going to do like you did and invest in trucks. I totally feel that trucking is one of two of the most critical industries, right?
Yeah.
Transportation and medical, right? I feel that they are the most critical and trusted, right, to a degree, because like we don't have a choice. We have to depend on the people who are moving those goods, and it doesn't matter if it's coming by sea, by air. It still got to hit that truck.
Yes.
And so I think for me, what amazes me is I honor women, period. So happy Women's Month, by the way. Happy Women's Month.
Thank you. Happy Women's Month to you.
But whatever we do, I feel that, we are the bomb at whatever we do, period. But I also am just amazed or intrigued by the things that we decide to do. Like, what is our thought process? Because we really can't do anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I also am intrigued by consumerism, like the way in which consumers make decisions, and psychology, the way in which we make decisions. And so I learned a long time ago that pretty sells, like it or not, like pretty sells, whether we want to admit it or not, that is facts, all day long. And so I always encourage people to show up as your best self, like, visually, verbally, like your words can be pretty, and you may not even be physically attractive, right, to that particular person. But if your words are pretty, that sells.
Yeah.
Those things, they do make a difference, and it's just the way that we're wired as people. So thank you for answering that question so honestly. Actually 15.7%.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, 15.7, and I thought 13 is 15.7% of pro drivers are women. And so my question for you was going to be, for those women who are courageous enough to weather unsafe conditions, who are determined enough to be concerned with mechanics, Um, because I know for some people it's not just about the money. Like they may
No.
just have a genuine interest. You know what I mean? It's not like a fail safe for them. It's their career. They have a passion. They feel that it's their purpose. What is the best way for them, a new woman driver, to get connected to other women in the industry? So, like when you mentioned, hey, you know, as an influencer, I've brought a lot of attention to trucking. You know, and I brought attention to trucking that's educating people, that's empowering people, and that's equipping people, whether they are consumers, you know, they are giving us more respect, you know, or whether they are, you know, partners, you know, they're partnering with us better. And you're in these rooms that where the doors, you know, are cracked and you're able to get in. What is that? Where, how can other women get connected?
I would say communities.
Okay.
I'm not alone in having women in trucking communities, but like even for one of my platforms with Pretty Mother Trucker, I have a community where you get networked, you get resourced. We keep each other up to date on what's going out there on the road, sharing tips. Just we got to stick together out there,
Yeah.
you know? So just being a part of a community, a sisterhood, a tribe, however you want to call it. Just having someone that you can be connected to, that you can rely on to ask a question, to get advice. You may share something. I mean, we go down to the highways like, hey, the 10 is closed here, or hey, y'all, I found this new gadget where we can pee on the truck easier.
Right.
Like a lot of the times we don't get out of the truck like the guys can and just go on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little ugly on trucking when it comes to certain things, but we have to go the extra mile to like be clean and just things that play a role in our day-to-day operations, being a truck driver that's a woman, but just being connected really. And so find a community.
Yeah.
Social media has been such a blessing to get connected with other women, other business owners, other truckers. And so even though I have my own, I'm still a part of other communities.
Yeah. So, yeah, you just made it feel so welcoming. If I didn't fall asleep while driving, I mean, like that just made me feel like I could do this.
I mean, once you get out there, I would say money was the motivation to get into invest. But once I started driving, I love to drive. It's actually a piece for me. And when I talk to other women drivers or just drivers in general, like that's a space where like I'm listening to my music. I get creative. I start thinking about things. When I'm home, when I'm in my home environment or my, you know, office environment when I'm not on the road, I'm working. We're nonstop. Yeah. And so for me, the truck be like, you just drive.
Right. And I've heard, I've not from women, but I've heard men say that they enjoy it because they feel like it's a getaway from like everyday life. So like, what's your typical playlist?
It depends on how I feel. You know, Gemini, I be off and on.
So you got a little bit of rap.
I like trap rap, and then I like older R&B. I like oldies.
Okay.
Like SWV, Mint Condition. I'll listen to like Older Mary. I like either like that era of R&B, or I'll listen to like rap. I listen to a lot of gospel too when I'm out there. Like I'll be having a whole worship session while I'm driving. I'll be listening to my gospel, trying not to cry, trying not to get foggy eye, praying, like just the moments. We're out there like 10 hours. You can, on the driving, like one route.
Yeah.
If we're driving for a full day, we can drive up to 10 hours. So it's like, you can go through so many motions just by the music that you listen to. What I do stay away from, being a woman, like if like at the time, because you got to think I've been driving 5 years. So over 5 years, songs that made me think about what was going on in my relationship. If it was like rocky at the time, I would try to stay away from. Because you'll be listening to music like, he do got me. Like listening to like certain music now, even some of the rappers and stuff, the girls, they will have you thinking all kind of stuff. So what you listen to is important about your mood. You're still soaking it up. So you can go through a lot of motions. So that's normally my playlist though, like older R&B. I love oldies.
Yeah.
I'll listen to like Minnie Riperton and
Yeah.
I be listening.
I be
jamming.
You be listening to your mama's music. So do you carry? Can you carry in your truck? Because different states have different.
You can. It depends. They do. But no, I don't.
You don't.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
But I have some things that'll back somebody up off of me.
That's right. Of course.
And then these hands work.
Yes.
A little bit.
And God is covering. You got angels.
But you know, I do, like I said, I mean, I listen to that type of gospel music on the truck, but everything you do needs to lead in prayer, you know? So before, even like in my community, we pray. We pray for each other. We just pray to stay safe on the road. But before every trip, I have kids. And there's been time the kids are with me in the truck. Like during the pandemic, when I was driving, my kids were out of school. Like they gotta come.
Right.
So like they were doing like school on the truck.
Yeah.
And so prayer was very important. Like, and not just for the day, like I prayed a lot throughout the day just to get me back home safe every day.
Yes.
To my kids, or every trip back to my kids. And especially when we were on the road, like anything can happen. It is very dangerous. It's a lot of liabilities out there moving around. So the prayer, I think, is most important.
Yeah.
Because he's like a shield for everything, no matter what I got on the truck.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you're covered.
Thank you.
I can see that.
I feel like I'm one of his favorites for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Girl, we neck and neck. We right there, side by side. So, fuel, load rates, driver retention. These are the things that I see a lot of on social media as being problems.
Yes.
Pain points in trucking right now. What is a problem we don't talk about though?
Outside of those?
Yeah.
So outside of fuel rates, what else did you name?
And driver retention.
For running a trucking company, or in trucking, I felt like, and this is an opinion on the culture. When I say culture, of course, like it's not limited to, but I feel like minorities. I see a lot of Hispanics out there, and I see a lot of Black owner operators. A lot of them come in money motivated like I did. You know, I can get this truck, I can make this much money. And so in the last few years, the growth that I've seen has been very intense for minority-owned trucking companies. And I feel like not as enough is touched on being preventative in operations. So all of those things that you named are on the outside. The rates, those are factors. The fuel is a factor. But ultimately, when you're really heavy in your operations and you understand the structure of your business, like a lot of companies aren't being structured the right way from the beginning. And there's not enough education from the beginning to know what to do, how to do it, and what do you need to be doing daily, weekly to maintain your business, grow your business, and stay alive in an industry that in a blink of an eye, you can get taken out. The wrong repair, you can get taken out. The wrong driver causing an accident can take you out, right? So even just being protected, like I always tell people, don't do an LLC with a trucking company, do a corp, like protect yourself. Because someone can sue your company or someone can ultimately sue you. So the operations.
And I would say the compliance. So being a third party administrator.
I thought you named that because I would agree. Okay, well then
I didn't.
We're there. I thought you named it. Okay.
Yeah, definitely compliance. As a third party administrator, our clients are not properly educated. We have begun to hold, like quarterly trainings, but most of the times they don't show up. So we really only hear from them when the FMCSA is down when their back. Mm-hmm. And it's like
reactive versus being preventative.
Very reactive. And then them just not even understanding. Like I've seen, I saw one client who kind of was being, I would say, punked by his driver. And I'm thinking, okay, so he's like, I need a driver. I need to get this guy on the road. So I'm just going to kind of let him do me this kind of way, just so I can get my truck back on the road. This is my perspective of what I was seeing. I've seen clients who have had drivers and SAP programs, and then them not really understanding how to validate that those SAP requirements had truthfully been met or how they should be managed. You're not running the query, so you don't know if the person is prohibited. You're not even in the clearinghouse. So that compliance piece is what I'm seeing, and I'm like, hey, like y'all are, I know you're busy, like I know you're like busy, you're working in your business, but like these are real things that you have to do.
You're absolutely right. And so, although I didn't say that word compliance, that is what I was specifically talking about when I said setting up your company properly. Because if you properly set up your trucking company correctly, you would know that you need a clearinghouse account from the very beginning. You would know within compliance how you're operating is, are you operating in compliance? And I agree. I see so many, even like with my consultations and like strategy calls, they come when there's such a big problem. But it's like, if you do this from the beginning,
Yeah.
and you operate within, we're regulated, we're federally regulated, and not enough people understand that aside us making money, if you're not in compliance, you're not operating correctly, you will be shut down.
Yeah.
And giving drivers passes, I would say, because I know you're in what you do, it's vital, because not running a query, not getting your drivers drug tested and just throwing drivers, you're asking for all the issues that come. You're asking for a disaster, actually.
Yeah.
Because these drivers, they do be under the influence.
Yeah.
And
then them too, just understanding, and when we have these trainings or conversations, like, hey, we strive to be the premier provider of transportation compliance in the African American community, not just because we want to dominate the market, but because we want to make sure you stay in business. We want your drivers to know, like, hey, sure, you can take the edible, but if you got to spend $2,500 in a SAP program, then maybe you could just take a flight, relax, something else. Like, and I just feel like education provides people with an opportunity to make a choice. So like,
yes.
when you know better, you can do better. Do you know what I mean? And just seeing people like, hey, you had this hope and dream of this company, whether it was for the money, whether it was for the legacy, whatever it was, but it's about to go on the toilet because you're not doing the things you're supposed to do. So we really want to help get more education out there. But I think in this social selling space, people are just so quick to, hey, sign me up. And they're not really understanding what they're signing up for. So within your coaching and your consulting, well, let me take a step back. I'm just curious to see. So you got 100% Teeauna White, Pretty Pockets. What is that divide? What are those dividing percentages? Like, how much of you is driving? How much of you is coaching and consulting? How much of you is showing up as the businesswoman representing the trucking community? Like, how would you, if you had to put some percentages on it?
Well, if we're in 2023 now, so I don't drive.
Perfect.
I will drive though, but I'm not.
To.
Yeah,
If you have,
I'm not driving now. A big part of what I'm doing is being hands-on in my own business, because I run a trucking company. I also have a dispatch company, so delegating and overseeing my dispatchers, because we dispatch for other carriers.
Okay.
I've started leasing on owner operators, and again, it's been very popular more for people to get trucks, but now a lot of owners and companies are struggling, so they're looking for a company to lease on to and to take that load off of them, to just have more passive income. So a lot of my time is coaching on my platform, getting people qualified to be a dispatcher, getting people educated on how to start their company correctly. Those are my two main areas of focus: starting and structuring a company correctly, and learning how to dispatch, either for your own company or to start a dispatching service for yourself. And even within the realm of them, I teach them how to add on other services that are needed. But I'm in the office. I'm in front of a screen teaching. I'm on Zooms. I'm on master classes. And I'm just making sure that my team is doing what they have. We're very small. I only have 2 girls. And we do a lot. I'm growing. And I feel like my percentages are going to fluctuate a lot in the future. Yeah. And because I have to get out of my own way. You know, even me and you have had conversations. I'm like, you operate in.
I'm like, take the price up,
You
Teeauna.
flow so
Take
easy.
the price up,
You're like,
Teeauna.
jump your price up, get out of so much of your operations, allow other people to be employed more around you by helping you do what you need to do. And you can't do everything. So, you know, you've given me a lot of gems, which I thank you for.
You're welcome. Well, the reason
you.
I don't say take the price up just to take the price up.
No,
though.
but I do feel like I give a lot of value.
It's because of the expertise. I mean, you really have a full scale operation.
Yeah.
Right. And the only way that, you know, I would see you being able to continue to accelerate and step into those rooms that other people may not be able to get into as of yet is really you being able to be freed up to get in there.
Yes.
And that's going to take higher ticketed coaching programs, which you deserve anyway, right? So that you can hire that team to do, you know, we call it ABC tasking. Like all tasks are important.
Yes,
everybody's important.
Yes.
Everybody's important. But you need the A task. Somebody else need to B task and somebody else need to C task, you know? Because you're the one that's been called to blaze the path, blaze the trail.
Yeah, so that's been my...
That's okay. You get in there, and
I'm getting there.
And you've been, you know, you here in the ATL, and you know that's all we do here. So
yeah,
that's
and I think my heart plays a big role too, because I'm always trying to like reach back down to the ones that I don't know. I just remember being in a spot where like I didn't have help and I didn't have a lot going on. Yeah. So it's just like trying to make my products super affordable. Helping people that are a little bit disadvantaged. So like my heart be like, make it to where they can afford it. But then on the business mindset, it's like your value is way too high. I help too many people. Yeah. But I mean, it's just all a transition too for me.
So yeah, I had a one framework that I used to use as a coach. I would ask people what was their learning format. Like, hey, do you learn best with a replay? Do you learn best being in person? And then what's your budget? And my intention really was to identify a product or service that I had that would suit them. And then I was working with one of the coaches that's on my coaching team. This was last year, but she's on my coaching team this year as well. And in our conversation last year, she was like, it's not your business whether they can pay you or not. It's their business. Your business is to provide the value. Their business is to make a decision and pay for your service or your product. And it took a minute for that to sink in. But I will say that I did adopt that format in my coaching program, and it is effective in terms of if people want to, just like they want the Louis, the Burberry, you know, the whatever, right? Because those people are not asking them. They're not lowering their prices.
Yeah.
Not one day out of the week, right? Ever. They raising their prices, right? And that is truthfully perceived value. You know what I mean? So I think about like, hey, I used to collect purses was my thing, right? Purses was my thing. And I wouldn't buy a lot of purses, but when I bought a purse, I would really be buying a purse. And a couple of months ago, I was like, it's crazy. I finally got to the point where I don't want these purses anymore.
So what do you mean when you say when I was buying a purse, I would really be buying a purse? Does it mean like you were looking at this purse and then you wanted it, you maybe saved for it? You're like, when I go get my next bag, it's going to be this one.
Like,
were you intentional
I would
buy?
court them.
Okay.
Yeah, like scout them out, research them, you know, pin them down. Like I remember there was even this Brahmin bag. And I mean, a Brahmin is people probably don't think much about Brahmin in today's world, but like at that point in time, like Brahmin was a thing, you know, and it was like a doctor's bag. So it was very unique. It was blue and it looked like it was just top tier quality. But I'm just saying, like, but now I get to this space and I'm like, I don't even want this purse. I don't even want these purses anymore. And it's, you know, it took a while now to get there, but I am there. And so that is to say that you have brands. You are a brand. I am a brand. Louis is a brand. Gucci is a brand. You have brands that from their standpoint, you know, they're not lowering their prices. Well, I know Gucci does, but I'm gonna use Louis because Louis ain't doing it, right?
No.
Louis ain't doing it. And I think that's where we have to be too. You know, our job is to provide the value. So if I'm providing the value, this is the price ticket for the value that I provide. Now it's up to you to go and figure out how you can obtain this product or this service, you know, that I have. And at the end of the day, if somebody want that Louis bag, they're going to save their money. They're going to get their man to buy it. They're going to get it, their mama to buy it. They're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that that is super important, especially in the coaching and consulting space, particularly for African Americans, because it helps reduce that perspective of entitlement. You know, you owe me something because I just paid you, because I don't care about your review. And I don't care about your social receipt. Like, sure, I'm going to ask my clients if, you know, hey, would you be willing to do a review, you know, or give us a testimonial? But I don't care enough about it to reduce my prices for it. Do you know what I mean? Because I would like to think that the value that I provided, it would be like, it would just be automatic. Do you know what I mean? Like, it would just, like, for example, you were at Toast yesterday. I knew that just because I follow you and I saw your post. So I'm sharing that off the strength. Do you know what I mean? I'm just sharing that off the strength because I find value in somebody seeing a beautiful, intelligent leader in this space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just have to.
It's okay. You'll get there.
No, I am. I think that's one of my struggles because as entrepreneurs and as coaches and as leaders, and I battle with making things here for certain people. And then knowing, like, I literally get tips all the time. I get people who get my course. So right now I've been selling it for $97. So I've always been a number girl, right? I'm just going to give an example. I can sell it. It's well worth over $2,500. But I'm like, oh, if I just sell 15 or 20 a day, I made, you know, $1,500 a day. That's equivalent to one a day. But I know the value's there because, like, I get tips all the time. Like, I cannot believe you sold this for $97. You know, like, I'm sending you $150 or I'm sending you $200. Like, can I get your Cash App? Can I get your Zelle? Like, I get it a lot. So it's very flattering. It makes me, it has validated me being an educator for me because this is an industry that they don't see women teaching what I'm teaching. And so for me, by me hopping into, I've been doing this and now I'm going to teach it. I think it was something personal that I needed to, a space I needed to be in just to know, like, am I doing this right? Do people like me? Are people learning? Like, I always have thought very highly of myself, but as an educator, as me teaching, am I elite at this? And so by me teaching and having my classes and my workshops and my courses for a year, and like, I haven't heard anything negative about my brand. It's like, well, I hope y'all caught me when y'all did because the price is going up.
So tell me, it's March 5th, 2024. Where do you see Teeauna? Where do you see Pretty Pockets, the brand, Pretty Mother, Trucker? Where do you see those three entities? Where do you see those?
a compound of, in the trucking space, 2024, I would like to have a mutual space where all of the different businesses that I do as far as in the trucking space are in one area. And as far as Pretty Pockets, I see my brand actually elevating. I'm rebranding right now, just like in a vault. When I first launched, I didn't know marketing. I didn't know any of that. So for Pretty Pockets, I see me being at well over 1,000 women and bringing connections of network, not just about trucking, all industries, all careers, all women that want to elevate themselves. Me being a strong network to be able to come to events, feel good, feel pretty, work, meet other valuable women, meet other leaders, just meet women that you can be relatable to or you can be influenced by or inspired by. I'm inspired by so many women now at my age and when I was a teenager. Like I meet so many dope women. So I know Pretty Pockets is going to be a brand that a lot of women are going to look and be excited to want to be a part of. And so the membership there, I definitely see that in 2024. And on the trucking side, being a superstar.
Okay. No, you
Being
don't
a
gotta play.
superstar, I feel like my face and my brand is gonna grow. I've just been praying and I just know like my timing, and I feel like next year is going to be a higher year for me mentally, physically, even just controlling them emotions in business. Like I'm growing and I've grown so much. So I know like from where I was at in 2021, where I'm at in 2023, 2024 is going to be a very great year. I know as far as Pretty Mother Trucker, on the compliance side, I'm dropping new products. So focusing on drivers, focus on the compliance, focus on the audits, just having more availability for different areas of trucking that people may specifically need help in.
Yeah.
So the brand is going to be branding, definitely not stopping, growing. But honestly, I don't know where exactly I'll be, but I know a lot of opportunities are coming my way. And so just praying for the right, kind of like the discernment of what opportunities to take and what to not take, because a lot of opportunities do come and sometimes I get stuck like, do I say yes or do I say no? Do I let this pass or do I, hold on to it or just see how it goes? And I just praying that God still has me here just to keep impacting. I think that's the biggest thing that I hold on to is I love doing what I do now, but hearing how I made women feel or how I've helped them, like the impact of what I've been doing in these last few years, I've been holding on to that very valuable. So I know 2024 is just going to be probably more intense.
Okay. Well, I want you to be able to come back to this episode. And you told me you were a numbers girl. So you already said we're going to have 1,000 members for Pretty Pockets. What's going to be our numbers for Pretty Mother Trucker? Or is it going to be like a revenue number or is it going to be a member number there?
Pretty Mother Trucker, I haven't touched 7 figures yet.
Okay.
Pretty Mother Trucker. So we can, if we want to put a number on it,
it's going to be 7 figures. Y'all heard that. Okay. All right. And then what about Teeauna?
Teeauna, balance, more balance.
More balance.
A workaholic.
Okay.
So still just flourishing really, and able to maintain any success that comes my way, any opportunities, any exposure that as I grow in finances, because I know that that's coming, I don't get lost in anything and I stay grounded. I stay connected in my faith, stay balanced in being a great mother, because I know a lot of things for me are going up and I always pray like I don't never get lost.
Yeah. That's
in
good.
the success.
Yeah, that's good. I just got a couple of more. So What's one adjective that comes to mind when you hear each of these words? Safety.
Prepared.
What about relationships?
Intentional.
Future. Not the rapper.
Focused.
Truck.
Expensive.
Challenge.
Dedicated.
So I saw a tweet today that Lily McGee is noted as the first female to own a trucking firm. Do you think that women will ultimately dominate the trucking industry, or do you even think it matters?
I don't think it matters anymore. I'm excited to see the new history-breaking news and events that take place in positions. But ultimately, I feel overall women are proving themselves, and we're dominating a lot of industries. I feel like even in your industry, it's like your top tier. Like, who's your competition? I don't even see other. Not to say you're looking for one, but I never. My industry is a little bit competitive right now. A lot of women are getting into the space where I'm in, but I don't know. I haven't ran across anybody who could be your competition yet in your industry. So I love,
Listen to
you know.
Listen to you. I'm gonna have to donate to that 7 figure.
No, I don't. I don't. And so I just think overall, we're just killing it. I think a lot of women are really goal oriented, driven, and know what they want to do. And the opportunity of entrepreneurship is amazing. So
It is. It is. It is. I wrote a book called Becoming Coachable. And I wrote it to support people in identifying the best coach or best coaching team to help them, realize their goals and dreams, whatever they would be. Because I really feel like, you were successful before you got into trucking. You were successful before you became an entrepreneur. I was successful before I became an entrepreneur. But I am successful in being an entrepreneur, I feel, because of the coaching team that I had. Right? Could I have done it myself? Sure. There was an entrepreneurship degree down in Nova Southeastern. I did international business instead of entrepreneur. Yeah, sure. I'm sure I could have did it, but I feel like the path that I've had has been because of my coaching team. So I feel it's super important for people to identify the best coach. So when they come to work with Teeauna White, whether it's under Pretty Mother Trucker or whether it's under, Pretty Pockets, they know exactly why they are there. Because there are so many of us who are not living out our purpose that God has given us, which is keeping us from impacting. So it's so cool and amazing that you are so intimate with what you're supposed to be doing, with who you're supposed to be doing it. And some people, and you have the courage and, the grit to get it done. And so many people don't have that. So the point of the book is really to support people and and also, to be honest with you, the point is to prepare them to not pay Teeauna $97, but be ready to pay her $9,700.
Okay, everybody get the book.
If that is what
Truck Mob, Pretty Mother Trucker, get the book.
To prepare them for that, literally, because if that is what it takes, and we don't have enough time on this particular podcast, but just what I find is that when I invest, and I used to say when I invest in somebody else, so let's say I was going to do the dispatching class, and I would say, you know what, I found that when I invested in Teeauna, when I bought her $97 product, X, Y, and Z happened that allowed, that gave me my money back. But what God told me over this weekend after attending the conference that I was at, which is why I wasn't at the rooftop, is that it wasn't that I was investing in Teeauna. I was investing in myself. Yeah. And he was pouring back into that for me to continue to invest in myself. And so I want to personally thank you for everything, for the good girl energy that you just spreading, because we need more of that. I want to thank you for that. I want to thank you for your heart. But my hope for you is that you're going to come back and watch this podcast. You're going to be at that 7 figures. You're going to have that team that you talked about. And that $97 is going to be $9,700 or $900,700, whatever it is that you need it to be, because the Jeff Bezos, and I think that's just us as African American women. Like, Jeff Bezos ain't doing that. You know, the Waltons ain't doing that. None of those people are doing that. And a lot of times we feel like we have to do something. We can still love our community and still command the respect of our community through our pricing, because the more that people invest in themselves, the better positioned they are for you to, or the better position you are to serve them. Does that make sense? Because then you don't got to be spread here, there, and everywhere. You know, you can pay your sister a good 6-figure salary, you know, to come and, you know, take over this segment of your company. Do you know what I mean? So that's my wish for you.
I receive it.
That's my wish for you. So I just want to thank you. Can you go ahead and do your drop? Let the folks know where to find you and why they need to find you.
Thank you for having me, Sheila. So you guys can follow me at Pretty Mother Trucker, which is Pretty Mother with MUTHA Trucker TRUCKA on Instagram. Pretty Pockets 100 on Instagram. Everything is Pretty Pockets, like TikTok, YouTube, and I'm doing big things, so you're probably going to see me in a city near you if you pay attention.
Rich friends, that concludes another episode of I Am Sheila Michelle. None other than the beautiful Teeauna White, Pretty Pockets, Pretty Mother Trucker. So excited to have her on the show today. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.